Caleb,
Yeah?
I got bored.
What? What the do you think you're bringing this into my house for? Why doing this to me?
Dear Siri.
The Ouija board.
I'm not playing that old Ouija board.
One of the most infamous and debated topics in the paranormal world.
In this video, we're going to be going into detail in the origin and the history of the Ouija board, so you can make up your own mind as to whether it is just another form of communication or whether it is actually a gateway to the spirit world. So in that case, where did the Ouija board come from?
So, of course, they did not just appear out of thin air. During the 19th century, the spiritualist movement really picked up, and that is when this became mainstream. But let's go back in time.
So this goes all the way back to just after the Civil War. A lot of people died not just due to the war, but also due to disease, and are living long to connect with their lost loved ones. Enter the spiritualist movement. Now, the spiritualist movement was a global craze where people believed that they could communicate to the dead through mediums.
But spirit communication was usually exhausting, slow, and quite frankly, boring. So some inventors set out looking for a shortcut to make spirit communication faster and more efficient.
Now, in 1886, an Ohio newspaper reported on a new phenomenon, the talking board, which looked remarkably familiar, with the alphabet on yes, no, a wooden planchet as well, and the sun and moon on it as well.
The idea caught the eye of a businessman from Baltimore known as Ouija Board, and in 1891 he created and got the patent for the board. His friend Charles Kennard then started the Kennard Novelty Company, and soon after that a young man named William Fuld was then employed by this company and was made the new face of this new invention,
the Ouija board. Now, during a seance, the board technically named itself. So when asked what it wanted to be called, it spelt out with the planchard, Ouija. Now, when asked what this actually meant, the board replied, good luck.
Creepy? Maybe. But in reality, this name could have been inspired by a locket that contained a picture and the name Ouija, which was being worn by Ouija Board's sister-in-law during the seance.
Now, by the early 1900s, William Fuld had created an empire. He even claimed to have invented the board himself and made millions. He also credited the board with helping him make business decisions, such as even building a factory on Harford Avenue, which he did.
But in 1927, Fuld fell from the roof of this factory and was killed, with his famous last words to his children being, "Do not sell the Ouija board."
What did they do?
They sold it.
What?
In 1966, they sold it to the Parker brothers, who later became part of Hasbro. Yes, that's right. The creators of Monopoly also technically own the Ouija board.
For decades, Ouija boards were just a normal game along the same lines as Monopoly. Kids would play them at sleepovers, and they would be used regularly at dinner parties as a bit of entertainment. Then came 1973, with the release of The Exorcist. And in one chilling scene, Reagan uses the Ouija board to communicate with her friend, Captain Howdy. Later on, we then find out he is a demon known as Pazuzu.
Next thing you know, her head's spinning and priests are getting chucked out of windows.
The film burned the image of the Ouija board as a demonic object and demonic tool into the hearts and minds of everyone across the world, but sales spiked, so did fear.
From then on, Ouija boards came with a warning on the back saying never to play alone, never to ask when you're going to die, and always say goodbye.
But what do scientists think? Scientists think there's a far more logical reason behind the board working, and these are known as ideo-muscle movements. These are micro movements done subconsciously by your body that will move the planchette in the desired direction. And then pair that with multiple people having their fingers on said planchette. All of these movements combined will make the planchette feel like it's being moved by a spiritual force.
In other words, what they think is the board isn't reading your mind, you're reading your own mind.
But, of course, belief is a very powerful thing.
Sorry, you're falling over there. As the age of internet approached, a new entity began haunting the boards, known as Zozo. People on message boards on YouTube claim the same spirit was answering their questions, Zozo. Now, it would start friendly, but would soon turn very threatening. And the pattern was eerily consistent from ZO to ZO in a half moon shape,
earning him the name the Ouija board demon. But plot twist, accounts of Zozo date back to 1810, which is long before the Ouija board even existed. In a French demonology text, the spirit or demon Zozo appeared as a trickster spirit who then later went on to torment a woman in Picardy. Coincidence? Or maybe the internet just revived an old legend for the new age.
Now, the modern Zozo legend truly exploded due to one man, Darren Evans. In 2009, Evans posted his online account of his experience with what he believed to be a demonic entity summoned through the Ouija board.
Darren claimed that this entity had followed him and his family around for years, causing extreme poltergeist activity, horrifying nightmares, and even harming his family. Of course, this spread like wildfire across internet forums and paranormal sites. Soon, he then became known as the Zozo Man. Evans then began to appear in big TV shows, one of those being Ghost Adventures, where he went back in time and travelled to the locations and recounted his experiences. He also co-authored a book called The Zozo Phenomenon, the links between spiritual communication and ancient demonology.
Whether you believe it or not, Darren Evans gave the internet age its first true digital demon. His warnings: never call Zozo, never trust the board.
Once again, pop culture raises that one big question: is the Ouija board a toy or a gateway to hell? Although made big across America, the idea of speaking to spirits through some form of planchette writing isn't new. Dating back to ancient China, practitioners would use a method of divination called Fuji, which translates to spirit writing. Fuji was a practice where a stylus would hang from a stand and then write letters or numbers or figures in sand or ash by unseen hands.
Now, Fuji was used to contact gods, ancestors, and even receive prophecies. It was respected enough that most temples even kept records of this writing for generations. The Ouija board isn't just some American anomaly, it's part of a long global tradition of people trying to bridge the gap between the living and the dead.
Over recent years, the Ouija board has made an appearance across multiple films and TV shows, sometimes portrayed as a toy and others as terror. The Ouija board has once again transcended fear and has become a symbol of our curiosity about what may lay beyond.
Now, maybe that is the real power of the Ouija board. It doesn't summon spirits, it summons us, our hopes, our fears, also asks questions that we're too afraid to answer ourselves.
It's a reminder that humans have always wondered whether there is something on the other side keeping an eye on us. Whether it's science, superstition, or something else entirely, we'll let you decide that.
So, if you ever find yourself sitting in a dark room using one of these Ouija boards and the planchette starts to move,
remember, every story has two sides. The one we tell about the spirits and the ones the spirits tell about us. So are Ouija boards really a gateway to hell, or are they just another form of communicating with the spirits? Who knows? As always, thank you for watching Project Entity. Please check out our other channel on TikTok and give us a like, a subscribe, and let us know if there's any content you'd like to see from us, and we'll be sure to try and get it done. And as always, stay spooky.